Evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Trevor Sandlin, and I was number 16, so I got assigned vacuum cleaners. At first sight, it may seem white and plain, and so do vacuum cleaners, maybe the subject, but when you really get into it, and I don't know if you've ever been lost in Walmart looking for something, you find that big shelf full of vacuum cleaners. You say some of these are pretty interesting, especially the far right down there as the prices go up. The Dyson. Now, my family, we're proud Dyson owners, and we support any Dyson propositions that may come up in the future. And specifically my father, who's an engineer, we love getting right into the commercial. Right there in the beginning, you see how things work. The first suctionless, powerless, filterless vacuum. Some sounds confusing, suctionless. I'm sitting there thinking about it and getting in my head, Dyson, Dyson, Dyson. Anyways, I forget that growing up when I was a kid, my grandparents were proud American Hoover vacuum owners. And when I was a kid and I was into toys and the color red and stuff, and you had to clean my own room, I remember cheap vacuums, maybe quick shortcuts I could take to get my room clean, such as the Dirt Devil, that little red guy, almost a staple in our childhood vacuum memories. And got me thinking of three companies I should pick, and I was comparing high, middle, and low range companies, and I thought, well, there's the Dyson for the high range, but Hoover has a good mid-range between the canisters is technical and the handheld and the upright vacuums. It can be cheap, it can go up in price a lot. And then the Dirt Devil, the people's cheap Honda Civic thing that sits in there in the back, and it works most of the time. It gets stuff off the ground. So also has a great look. So let me get into this. So the main thing when you're getting a vacuum is some of us are getting out of school here soon. First paycheck, new homeowners, hopefully in the future. You're gonna have a girlfriend that wants to clean, or whatever you need. But you gotta pick what kind of vacuum is suitable for you. A lot of these vacuums have, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of attachments that you don't really need or use. Specifically, like some of the attachments that have a centrifugal force inside of the attachment, and when you plug it in, it does something to scrape up some kind of cat hair that might be on the back of your driver's seat or something, or a special cup holder cleaner to get the ash out. Now, I'm not a smoker, I don't have cats, but when I see this, it at first seems very interesting. So these are some attachments, stuff like that, but this is just in my perspective. But for other people, there's a germ count. A lot of people don't like the idea of a bagless vacuum versus a filtered vacuum. A lot of people think that if you have a filtered bag vacuum, all the germs go in there, you're done, you fold it up, close the edges, throw it away, it's all gone. Some people think that the bagless ones, these new ones, because you can see inside and the dirt films up on the edge, that there's a lot more germs. Styles versus models. Just what fits in today with every household, how things are changing, like the IKEA catalog, what vacuum cleaner fits in there now, and things like that. And eco-friendly. I guess low power vacuums save the atmosphere, stuff like that. So, again, Dirt Devil, lower end. At the Kmart, last time I checked, it was about 40 bucks. Or we get into Hoover, it could be anywhere from $40 to $200. And then the Dyson, I know my dad paid something like $350 for one of his Dysons. And then my mom suggested getting a smaller one so he could carry it down the stairs, a different one entirely. And of course that came with a car optional one, and this one just sits in our garage the entire time. It doesn't get ever used to clean the car. Hoover vacuums are known for their long history in the market, known for reliability. Again, I said earlier that my grandparents owned a Hoover vacuum, and that vacuum still works today whenever I go over and clean grandma's carpet up. Dyson vacuums, higher end, higher price, built to last. A lot of customer reviews were saying with these Dirt Devil and even the Hoover models that after using them for 1-2 years, they break down and they end up buying another one of these $200 vacuums. $200 isn't too much for a vacuum, but every 2-3 years your vacuum breaks down, you go out, all right, this looks good, another Hoover vacuum, buy another one, it adds up. A lot of people like the whole Dyson thing because they're going on 4 or 5 years now with the same Dyson vacuum that he came out with, the D240, and it lasts. It's built to last, and people like that. I like that, and it seems like kind of like an American thing. Like we were talking about discussions earlier. Ford built Ford tough, or things like this. All right, so also bagless. Here's some present models of the Dirt Devil. When we grew up, I remember this being on TV all the time, and this one down here, your stand-up. And it now coming around the bend here, 2013, we have things like this that could sit as almost a piece of art, you know? Yeah, just let that sink in. Beautiful. Hoover, older, more distinguished company. Right off the bat, we see strong colors, kind of a darker hued orange, strong backbound brown, and Hoover with this old kind of 1950s kind of Hoover thing going on here. And I find interesting is that they have to stay in the game in the marketplace today with these new robot vacuums coming out like Dyson and whatnot, and this cutting edge technology. And I feel like this vacuum here looks damn well a lot like a Dyson vacuum. But this is one of Hoover's new models they came out with in 2012. And it shows how Hoover might be keeping things classic, but at the same time doing what they need to provide a cutting edge with their competition out there in the market. Next, we go into Dyson. I'm sure we've all seen Dyson commercials, right? We're pretty amazed. Probably couldn't sleep that night thinking about how does it work and stuff like that. So you see in commercials, there'll be a lot of diagrams explaining how things were put together, centrifugal motion all over the place, like almost making you think that it's not even using a vacuum anymore to suck anything up, that it's some kind of space technology. And the guy's Australian, James Dyson, real down to earth, comes on board, he's sitting down, he's like, ladies and gentlemen, I thought that there has to be a way to make a better vacuum. He really comes at you down to earth and a person-to-person thing and explains to you that he can make a better vacuum for you. And he really sells the vacuum right there off the first commercial I've ever seen by doing something like that. And I enjoyed that. I think my parents did too. We own, I think, 3 of these vacuums now. And we have mates. I don't understand. Teach his own. I'll be in the back.
So a couple things about Dyson. One of the things that Dyson did, as Trevor pointed